Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of About Nothing But Sports. I'm your host, Ashley Baker, and thanks for tapping in with me, y'all. Y'all are always tapping in week in, week out. Whenever I post content or drop something, you guys are always supporting and letting me know that I need to keep the content and the posting and the shows and stuff coming. So I really, really appreciate that from you guys. Listen, I told you guys that this season of About Nothing But Sports was going to be just headlined by some fire guest lineups, and the party didn't stop with the last show. The party is going. The train is still moving. And I'm so excited. Look, I'm sorry. I'm so excited. I'm really happy to have my guy. Oh, brother. It has been a long time coming. My guy, Mr. Brandon Scoop. Scoop B. What's going on, my guy? How are you? Thank you for tuning out. Well, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Of course, you got the solid art in the back. We having good positive vibes. Only thing missing is a glass of wine. Next time we come on, we got to get that bottle of wine and maybe some fresh guacamole or something.
You got to tell me, because if I knew that, then I would have sent you a little something. And we would have been, you know what I mean, toasting it up on here. So now I know. Now I know for when you come next time. Now I know.
It's a bet.
Absolutely. So thanks again for joining About Nothing But Sports. Scoop B is the NBA insider for Bally Sports. Thank you for tapping in. So we are going to, this is definitely NBA centered. Perfect timing from some news that actually just dropped in the NBA, but we are going to get to that later. Right now, I kind of just want you to just tell the audience more about you, what you do, and what you have going on at the moment over at Bally.
So I'm Brandon. Brandon Robinson is what my mom.
I call him Scoopy. I call him Scoopy, y'all.
It's tomato at this point, but Brandon Scoopy Robinson is what I go by professionally. Bally Sports. I've been there for about a year and some change. Started spring of last year, and
I feel like you've been there longer.
I've been working a lot.
You've been, I'm about to say you've been doing a lot. I feel like you've been there like 2-3 years. Okay.
No, so I do that in my day to day, breaking stories, writing, giving information, and then a couple of different segments I have. Scoopy Intel, Scoopy Notebook, which Scoopy Notebook is more of like a news magazine type of feel, kind of like. If you're watching your local UPN or CW, they do like those news magazine shows with your local sports team. So kind of like in that vein too. But in addition to that, I have a show that I do with Spotify through their Spotify Live app called Scoopy Sources, just more information of the things that I'm hearing. And then I also have my podcast, Scoopy Radio. We garnered anywhere from 3 to 10 million streams annually. And then I do a bit of sports betting as well through Bovada. So sports betting, storytelling, interviewing, information, news, lifestyle, culture, all that. We are in there like swimwear.
Fan them down, because you're fire right now. No, seriously, like that. I love the amount of hats you wear. You know what I'm saying? And you do so much. And for those that don't appreciate you, I'll appreciate you enough for everybody, okay? Because
I value you.
Man, you do a lot, and it take a lot in this industry. So make sure that you guys he'll drop and plug his handles and stuff at the end of the show. But make sure that you guys are following him. He is beyond a reliable source. His storytelling is incredible. I've read a couple of your articles and everything that you got going on. It's just dope, man. It's salute to you, because like I said to you off camera, it's certainly an inspiration, and it make me go. I love having you kinds of folks, dope folks is what I mean when I say that, in my circle, because it never allows me to be too content. Like I can't be too content. I got to keep grinding. You know what I mean? I got to keep going. So
you're doing it.
Yeah. So I appreciate that. All right. So boom, that's out the way. I want to talk sports. I love to talk sports. I can't wait to talk sports with you. So listen, right now we're in the middle of the NBA free agency. We're in the middle of like summer league. It's a whole lot going on. So I want to start there with the summer league. Tell me, who's impressing you most from the top 5 picks Let me see if I can remember them. I was at the damn draft. I should, right?
Yeah,
So
I saw that. You said the draft doing your thing. You and Erica Fernandez, my homegirl at Sporting News.
Loved Erica and Chris Williamson as well. He was out there with us as well. And he's with SNY.
Yes.
So okay, so P5. Chet went 2.
Chet Holmgren.
Okay, so Paolo, Chet. Don't tell me who went 3. I think Jabari. Jabari went 3. Keegan went 4. And then my guy Ivy went 5. Boom! That's right.
You know what you're talking about.
That's right. All right. So out of those 5 picks, who would you say has impressed you? Now they shut down P5. Orlando shut down P5. So who's impressing you the most? Who's been impressing you the most so far in summer league?
Well, I actually do like Paolo Banchero on the Magic. He to me at that 6'10" frame reminds me a lot of a hybrid of RJ Barrett of the Knicks and Carmelo, and LeBron James. Kind of the tall point forward, if you will, and I feel like, sky's the limit. I talked about this earlier today. A guy that averaged about 25 and 6 in those 2 games. I really don't think he had to do too much. I think it was a strong showing. And the Magic are looking to really build on their youth movement and going into the season. A team that has not gone over 500 in the last 10 seasons. So they have big plans in Orlando, and, they're building through the draft and, helping out guys, veterans that are on that team now, like in Markelle Fultz and others as well. So, yeah, I definitely I like Paolo Banchero, and I think the sky's the limit for him.
You think it rookie of the year for Paolo? Because you know what? I'm going to be honest with you, Scoop. I think it might – I like something is tugging at me with Jaden Ivey, man.
I like Jaden Ivey, but I like Chet Holmgren too.
I like people. Let me tell you something. People on social have been giving Chet a hard time, man.
You know
They've been giving Chet a hard time. Why? Why they been giving Chet a hard time?
Because they just are.
They just haters. They've been giving Chet. It's crazy because they want to use like the narrative only when it fits. So, we can't say that Chet is going to be this amazing player. It's just the summer league, but then they'll turn around and look at Paolo's numbers and be like, he's going to be amazing. And I'm like, yeah, but you're only going based off of the summer league. Like, you can't, don't be hating on Chet, man. So, but I don't know. I like Ivy, man. And I like Keegan too.
Keegan is cool. I like Keegan.
I know a lot of people that like Keegan Murray.
But his game is
good. Yeah. So, cool. So let's talk about this NBA free agency. A lot going on. I don't know how much you can talk about it, but all right, boom, we can talk about it. All right, so DeAndre Ayton, this is news. So by the time y'all hear this would have happened yesterday, right? So DeAndre Ayton agreeing to what is a 4-year deal with the Pacers.
Kind of an offer sheet with the Pacers, and the Suns have a week to match that offer.
Right, I think it's for $133 million.
Yes.
Over 4 years. What's your initial thoughts on that, man? Have you even given initial thoughts on this yet?
No, I mean, I was doing TV today and talked about the fact that it would be likely. I know that it came down to the Pacers, it came down to the Spurs, and this was a little bit during the finals. People that I was speaking with, the Pistons were, in that dialogue as well as the Blazers. But to me, the Pacers make the most logical sense. Because of, I'm a 90s baby, and I remember when you would go to Wendy's and you would get a burger, you would get the Fixins cup, so you have the lettuce, tomato, the onion.
I think I remember that.
Yeah, and so I feel like you look at the Pacers, you already had the chicken sandwich, the chicken select sandwich with Tyrese Halliburton and with with Buddy Hield, sorry. And
yes.
I feel like you add Ayton, a double threat, and I really feel like he wasn't really utilized in his full totality in Phoenix, just because you have 2 All-Stars in Chris Paul and Devin Booker. So I feel like Ayton is that fixing cup, but he's definitely his own Frosty, if you will, because if you look at just his total body of work, I think he's the total package. You can run. You can still use him in the half court set. And I think that you're just starting to see him scratch the surface. And sometimes guys like that need their own team. And unfortunately, the Suns weren't able to give him that extension that he wanted prior to the beginning. And just talking to people close to Ayton, he just wanted a fair deal. And if the Suns don't match it, he's Indiana bound. And I think it's you're moving a big man from the West to the East. The East gets even more competitive.
I was just about to say that he would be going to the East, and we already know how that's starting to shape up.
And you got two guys from the Bahamas on the same team, and Buddy Hield and DeAndre Ayton. They both from the 2-4-2.
I was about to ask you, how old is DeAndre? What's DeAndre? 25? 23?
I think he's younger than that. I think he's like 22, 23.
Man, $133 million, 23?
Yeah.
That's crazy. He getting a bag. Look, they paying these players for sure. Yeah, but I think I love, because the West was super stacked last season, so I'm okay with the movement. But again, for him to be so young, I'm so surprised. Well, and again, we don't know yet. You said that Phoenix has a week to match.
Phoenix has a week to match it. In my guesstimation, a part of the reason why it took a little while for Ayton to sign something is because I think most of the NBA was waiting on what would be of the Nets,
right?
And if Ayton would be part of a sign and trade that would go to Brooklyn,
right?
And so, I know that the Suns balked at the notion of, including Devin Booker and Cam Johnson in any deal for Kevin Durant. And so, with that being said, I think on the side of Ayton and what he was going to do as a restricted free agent, I think the Suns were looking for the best possible way to get something in return. And we'll see, but I think that around 4th of July weekend going into now, I think that was the biggest thing. That's figuring out what was going to happen with Kai and Kev and the Nets, and you're starting to see that take shape there. So Ayton got his money. He signed an offer sheet. Either way, he's good. And here we are.
So does this clear for KD? Like, the biggest, I'm hearing that Phoenix, right? So, I mean, that's the number one team I'm hearing. If he was to be, moved, it would be to Phoenix. What does that mean now for DeAndre? I mean, well, what does that scenario look like now that DeAndre will likely be moving on to Indiana?
I mean, if there was
still, it could happen?
If there was still a conversation about it, it would definitely be a conversation around Cam Johnson. Devin Booker was untouchable, but there are some other teams that could offer a plethora of different options. You look at the Pelicans, mainly, who possess 6 first-round draft picks in trades with both the Lakers and the Bucks. I know that the Nets were looking, if they were looking to move Kevin Durant, any package that would include Brandon Ingram, Larry Nance, and picks. I'm told that the Nets and
do you think that the Pelicans would do that?
No. They won't.
I'm like, I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, I don't think so, because the Pelicans got like a legit shot, like, to make some noise in the West next year already.
They have a solid roster. CJ McCollum at point guard, Zion Williamson, who's on the men, or was on the men, is on his way coming back. You got Ingram, you got Jose Alvarado.
Yeah.
You've got a bunch of guys on that team, but then also there's some other teams that could offer. You look at the Golden State Warriors, if they're serious about bringing in back Kevin Durant. You can include any iteration of James Wiseman, as well as Jordan Poole, as well as
Wiggins.
I don't see Wiggins leaving. I think Wiggins, they're going to lock him down. But then you look at other teams. A team that would make sense, but I think they'd have to include a third team in any deal, would be the Miami Heat. The Miami Heat, they're not going to give up Jimmy Butler, so you got to look at other guys on that team like Tyler Hero, as well as Kyle Lowry. But I know that the Heat were interested in bringing in Kyrie Irving, and that portion of it would be more logical than trading for Kevin Durant. But the issue with a lot of these teams are they're in both the Kyrie and Kevin Durant situation is that they're lowballing Specifically, when you look at Brandon Ingram and you look at Kevin Durant, Ingram is 24, Kev is 33 or 34, and those two are often compared to one another. Ingram told me back in February that he looked up to Kev, but Kobe as well. But that the biggest difference between him and Durant is Ingram believes he's a better passer than Kevin Durant. Their game is very similar, very gliding, very lazy-like, or effortlessly. It's kind of like Tracy McGrady, like the way that they the basket and glide at ease. But I think when it's all said and done, I know there's a lot of speculation and a lot of prognosticating. But I do think that when it's all said and done, I do envision both Kyrie and Kevin Durant reaching some sort of terms with the Brooklyn Nets, and they do so tonight.
I think I said a couple weeks ago myself, Scoop, I was like, you know what? They're going to end up staying with Brooklyn. Especially when Kyrie, had committed. I was thinking to myself, I said, oh, okay, well, then it's on. They're going to run it back. And then KD was like, oh, no, I want out. And I'm like, oh, brother, here we go again. And it's just been a whirlwind. I thought that they were going to do fireworks and, maybe trade on the 4th of July and have us all gung-ho, and that didn't happen. So, don't listen to me. Listen to Scoop. Don't listen to me. But do y'all hear what I'm talking about here? I don't think you realize how tapped into your content, into your tweets and everything I really be. Like, I be tapped in.
I appreciate that for real.
I'll be tapped in. Look, I need to make sure it's reliable. I trust you. And you also, my homegirl Kelsey. Kelsey's sis right there, man. So I checked out a couple of y'all things. I absolutely love it. She's a doll. And she knows what she's talking about, man. So, I love the two of y'all together. So you mentioned Kyrie. A couple of weeks ago, even now, I'm still hearing that really let's just say he don't stay in Brooklyn. The only option is LA, the Lakers. What's your percentage of thinking that can even happen?
I don't like percentages.
Okay,
what I will tell you is based off of inquiring around the point guard, and what I can tell you is that Brooklyn is a place that he'd like to stay, but he's still looking to reach that some sort of agreement on an extension with the Nets. I know that if he were to go somewhere, I'm told somewhere west is where he'd like to go. But I also, on that same breath, or as you're looking back and forth, like, what is he talking about? I'm told those close to him feel as though the Lakers are more of a manufactured dialogue that is more a wish of the Lakers than it is Kyrie. And so there's that. But I also do know that, you look at the Los Angeles Clippers and you look at Ty Lue and his relationship with him. A lot of people felt as though it soured or it wasn't where it needed to be. And I'm told, Kai and Ty have a good relationship, and Kyrie believes that during his time in Cleveland, he names Ty Lue as well as Byron Scott and David Blatt as his 3 favorite coaches that he played under during his time in Cleveland. So from all indications, however, it's a situation where he'd like to stay in Brooklyn. It just has to make sense. So a lot of posturing by both the Nets, Kyrie, Kevin Durant, and I'm hopeful that they can figure this thing out.
Yeah, that's good information. Again, you guys are tapped into About Nothing But Sports with me, your host, Ashley Baker, and my guy, Mr. Brandon Scoop B. I'm calling you Scoop. I've been calling you Scoop. Mr. Robinson, NBA insider at Bali. So let me ask you, because I told you I wasn't going to hold you too long.
Okay.
If you had to go with, I love like predictions, and I'm hot takeish. I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of hot takeish. If you had to go with MVP next year, or who you think will grab MVP next season? Who you got your eye on? Who do you think? Because I'm gonna tell you now who I think.
Joel Embiid.
You going Joel Embiid?
Mm-hmm.
Joel should have got it this year, for real though.
He
should have got it this year.
Should have.
I like Paul George.
That's not crazy.
I like Paul George.
Listen,
if he stay healthy, of course, the man got to stay healthy.
Sure, and you look at the Clippers this season. Injuries were not their friend, both to Paul George and Kawhi. I know as much as people have an expectation for the Lakers last season and the season before, they did, win a championship in the bubble in 2020. But when you look at the Lakers and what they put together with Anthony Davis and LeBron, the Clippers have not delivered themselves. And I believe that quietly this is a make or break year. Not in the same vein as the Lakers, because I don't think the Clippers have the same pressure that the Lakers do, even though they play in the same building. But I do like the additions that they made to their team, namely John Wall. I talked to John a couple of days ago, and John is very excited to join this team. And I've spoken to a couple of his teammates on the Clippers, and they've expressed a similar level of excitement and jubilation, if you will, for his signing with that team. And I think that they have a good chance, just as anybody. I think the Western Conference is loaded with talent, young talent. Memphis easily comes to mind. The Mavs, the Suns, the Warriors are still the champs. The Lakers aren't going to just lay down and die. And so I think, you look at that team too. But I do think the Clippers have a legitimate chance also.
I do too. Again, barring everybody stays healthy. Back in November, when obviously there were talks all year of John Wall, no longer being what he wasn't going to be with the Rockets. We already knew that. And back in November, I was like, they could use a John Wall, the Clippers. I love me some Reggie Jackson. I love me some Terrence Mann. Yeah. They could use a John Wall type guy. Like I think John Wall was averaging 8 or 9 assists when he was, at his peak. He's a pass first point guard at this point, you know what I mean? So I really thought that they could use, especially, because I knew Kawhi was out. So this was before Paul George got injured when I was saying this. I'm like, they could just, if somebody like John Wall, this would be great. So yeah, that's pretty dope that he's excited.
Yeah, definitely. John is John, when his situation was being figured out with the Rockets, last season, back in November, I was told that teams like the Bucks, the Heat, the Clippers were three teams that were looking to find their way to him. And just kind of catching up with John around Thanksgiving time, John shared that he's really been using this time away from the team and working out when needed to with the Rockets, but using this downtime to really enjoy his family, his kids. And I think that the time off is only self-preservation.
Yep.
And I also think that he needs a fresh start. Washington, he's beloved there to this day.
I ain't gonna lie, Scoop. I was like, for the media purposes, because I'm just a sports media just nut. I was like, "Ooh, if he come back to DC, that would be crazy." I was kind of hoping
John to come back to DC, but I think at this point in his career, he's chasing championships.
Facts.
Washington will always be a second home. Him being from Raleigh, North Carolina, he put me on the cookout, by the way, in Raleigh.
I haven't had cookout yet.
Yeah, I went a few years ago, and I went a few months ago when I was in Raleigh, and John spoke reverently about their hush puppies, and he was right. And but as it relates specifically to Washington, the Wizards are building something special, specifically with the acquisition of Kristaps Porzingis. I think towards the end of the season, he began to really gel with his teammates, and to get Bradley Beal back into the fold. That's cool. I like some of the moves that they made with the Denver Nuggets, and a healthy Kyle Kuzma with the Wizards. So definitely bolster their chances in a very competitive Eastern Conference.
Yeah. So you mentioned Joel. We're looking for Joel to kind of have a repeat season of this year in order to grab that MVP case, right? That's what we're looking for from him. And obviously, playoffs don't matter. So, but yeah, I really thought Joel should have gotten his last year. I was really surprised that he didn't, but we're not gonna act like Jokic had a fantastic year.
And Jokic got help. He got shooters, and Kentavious, my buddy, former Laker champ Kentavious Caldwell-Pope finding his way to Denver. Denver is going to be a problem in the Eastern Conference, and I want to shed light on that because I didn't mention them in the competitive Western Conference. But Jokic definitely draws double teams. He's by not by position but by definition the de facto point guard, and then you have a healthy Jamal Murray that comes back as well, and Denver is going to be a force to be reckoned with next season, I believe.
Yeah, I definitely cannot wait for NBA season to start. I mean, I'm an NFL girl too, so I love me some NFL, but I love when I'm getting both of them at the same time, and that's in October, November, everything is at the same time. I'll be so excited. I really can't wait to see. So we're wrapping up. I told you I wasn't going to keep you too long. Tell me about some upcoming projects that you have going on. I know you told me what you got going on right now. Anything upcoming that we need to keep our eyes on when folks go and follow you on your social media and follow Scoop B?
So you mentioned Terrence Mann. He joins me at Bally on Monday.
Nice.
So I'll be looking out just for his commentary just on the off season and some of the other projects he has going on. And pay attention to Scoop B Sources, my show over at Spotify. But just follow me on Twitter and Instagram, Scoop B, where you can find everything that I have going on. And that's where you can check out everything that I have brewing.
I feel like I'm being a little starstruck right now, man, because I really don't think you understand like how dope you are to me a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I appreciate that for real.
Like, I absolutely love it. So we're at the portion of the show where we're gonna do like some rapid fire. I'm really gonna get some like some bells and whistles to go with this segment right now. I don't have it. I'm using so this is this or that. I'm gonna let you choose. I usually time. I'm not gonna time you. I'm gonna let you do your thing. It's anywhere between 7 and 10 questions depending on how I feel.
Okay, let's do it.
All right, bet. I'm sizing you up right now.
Uh-oh.
Waffles or pancakes?
Waffles.
Beach or mountains?
Beach.
Dwayne Wade or Allen Iverson?
Allen Iverson.
Oscar De La Hoya or Roy Jones Jr.?
Roy Jones Jr.
Okay. Burgers or wings?
Burgers.
Okay. Vegas or LA?
LA.
Miami or New York?
New York.
You good. I did it. That was enough. You did good.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. I feel like that's, allowing the audience to tap into some of your personal preferences, man, so, now folks know a little bit more about you.
There you go.
Now folks know a little bit. So you said, wait.
Don't get it wrong. Huh?
Go ahead. I'm listening.
I was gonna say, but don't get it twisted. I do love wings though, but on the spot, a good burger with a Coca-Cola can't go.
With some fries. Ooh, you
sweet potato fries.
I love sweet potato fries, but you gotta have honey mustard on the side for me. I'm not eating sweet potato fries, but like ketchup.
Or the Polynesian sauce from Chick-fil-A.
Oh my goodness, you are so right about that Polynesian from Chick-fil-A with the sweet potato fries. Oh, I might have to go try that.
There you go.
Oh, you hipping me. You definitely hipping me. I appreciate that. So look, one more time before I let you go, please plug your social medias and where we can find you. And also, you said you have the podcast, where we can find the podcast. And I'm going to let you go, man. I'm not going to hold you so long, but thank you so much for tapping into About Nothing But Sports today. Where can everyone find you?
I appreciate you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be myself. So Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Scoop B. They're all the same. YouTube, Scoop B. Scoop B Radio Podcast. You can subscribe on all streaming platforms. You can check out my work at Bally Sports daily, and then additional work over at Spotify and Bovada. So we are in there like swimwear, and thank you for letting me be a guest on your platform.
Okay, yeah, no problem. Of course. And I saw that you were on vacation. You was living your best life. You look nice and refreshed. So it's I know some fire content, interview story. I know that's coming because it looked like you didn't got your mind right. So I'm excited to see it.
I got time to sit and think.
Hey, I appreciate that. All right. So thank you guys for tuning into About Nothing But Sports. Make sure that you subscribe. You see it down on the ticker. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, Apple, Spotify, all streaming platforms is where you can find this podcast. And make sure that you follow me on Twitter and Instagram at AshleyBaker_21 and also on Facebook. straight up Ashley Baker. Thanks again for tuning in, guys. Same time, same place next week.